right, Throwbacks coming back, presented by Cash App. We're welcoming in one of my good friends who also happens to be Deadline Hollywood senior film reporter and all-around Detroit, Michigan guy. You know, we talk a lot about sport. I'll even text him during the Lions games. Justin, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. You not only text me, you used to be the guy that was like the four friends that if the Lions lost in heartbreaking fashion, you would just text like brutal or like, oh, I'm sorry, man. Like you were of that group and it was like instantaneous. There was like a Bears game where they lost like heartbreakingly.
Yeah.
And it was 10 seconds after.
How do you, by the way, my best friend is a diehard Lions fan as well. She grew up in Detroit and she's like, she's lived probably like you, like the worst years, the bad years. She's always been a fan, and obviously now the Lions are back and maybe the best team in the NFL. How do you look at like the new fans, like the bandwagoner fans? Does that piss you off, or is it like, no, hey, come on board, like shit, we need all the help we can get?
Not at all. I mean, like I like being a team that people are for, but like I know where I've been in the mud. Like to me, like my favorite actually isn't the Lions fans that have just showed up. It's like kind of these like the Rams fans have started trying to start a rivalry because they just assumed that they got Stafford, they'd always be better. And now we're year 4 of this trade, and we've been 3 out of the 4 years had a better record than them.
And the playoff,
but they
nice.
did win a Super Bowl.
Yes, listen, they get that. Oh, by all means, they still have the trade one.
But you guys are better, yeah, that's for sure.
But like my whole thing with them is like, because they're chirpy about the loss, and I'm like, don't be mad about the refs. Be mad that Sean McVay punted the ball. Also, speaking of the Rams, since I have to teach you guys a lesson, since most of you started rooting for the team in 2020, your team made the Super Bowl by possibly the most egregious non-call in sports history. They had to change the rules. So stop with the refs.
What call was that? By the way, I'm not a Rams fan. So.
Pass interference, PI, right?
The Saints, where he like the guy like
oh, that's right. Head
while the ball was in the air. They changed the rule. They did that like you can review pass interference for like a year, and that.
So I feel like I always would text you because like I'm a Knicks fan, so I know what that mud you speak of is like, and I also know the PTSD that comes with certain teams. Lord knows you have it the worst. When I tweeted that thing about maybe we should take the Cowboys or Lions off Thanksgiving, who was the first person I heard from? Kroll, like, yeah, man, great, we're finally good. You want to take us off Thanksgiving? What a friend you are. So I'm saying this I am making this a we're taking superstition out. I'm barely going to mention the word. Let's just say potentially, if the Detroit Lions
make it to New Orleans,
find themselves going to New Orleans around February for whatever their reasons are, does Justin Kroll purchase a ticket or get a ticket through various Hollywood connections? Yes. For sure. Like you're there.
There's money. I wouldn't even wait for someone to reach out. There's money put away that my wife does not know.
You have a fund.
By the way, more importantly, who's your plus one? Is it your wife or is it your buddy?
Or is she with the kid? Is she? You know,
she wouldn't go.
I would say you're not bringing the wife to that.
It would. I don't know because like again, my dad and brother are not as. I'm the biggest Lions fan I know. I'm not trying to like overemphasize. It's just I own that too. I enjoy being in LA and just being like that guy. I'd go by myself probably. Like that's where it's at. I really
save a little money too.
Well,
save
I like
cash.
It's so expensive. Like I don't even know who I would. I mean, listen, Jerry, if you were like, I'm going, let's do it. But I wouldn't want to put that pressure. But
we'll be there.
I have told
we're gonna
everyone,
be there.
I've been to 8 Rose Bowls. By the way, my first Rose Bowl, I saw John Navarre play, Mr. Matt Leinart.
There you go.
So I've been to World
Navarre.
Yeah, like that.
We played in Arizona together.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that's wild. I forgot about that.
He was there. He got drafted there. I think 2 years prior to me.
I think he played the Lions actually in Detroit. That's too funny. I've been to World Series. I've done everything but like the Derby and Super Bowl. And I said I will not go to a Super Bowl. Even when it was in LA, I'm like, I'm not going until my team's in it for the first time. So that means something to me. So yes, there's a fund. I'm sure some people would also like feel like they would want to help me, but I have them.
I would. I know, but I want to put this out there. I went to my first Super Bowl last year. The Chiefs win in Vegas. I've been to other Super Bowls, but I always left before the game. I'd go attend the parties, win a Beach Bowl MVP, and then get out of there before the game. But I went and did some content for BetMGM. If all these potential weird things happen, And if the Lions had found themselves in New Orleans, you for sure, if I had to, I would be like, you know what, Kroll, keep that fund going. Put it toward the kids, 529.
Anybody that's watching this,
let's go.
Get to me fast because I'm going. I listen. I don't want to be blamed for a jinx, but I may have been looking at like flights to Vegas.
We should stop now. We should stop now.
Last year, I may at halftime been looking during that Niners game because I was working quickly.
I think I've already said it. This isn't. I already said Lions Bills Super Bowl. That's what's going to be. I've been saying that for a long time.
I'm just enjoying this season, by the way. Like everyone that's talking Super Bowl, like I just want to appreciate it because it's like a really once in a lifetime. Like everyone talking about this is the first time they've ever been favored. They like if they win one more game, it's the most in team history. All these things, I'm just like it truly is probably one of the best teams. And we're talking about Red Wings and those Pistons teams from the 2000s, the Tiger Road, the Scherzer Verlander teams. You know, Michigan '97, like Michigan last year, some great Izzo teams. But this, I don't consider the Bad Boys teams my team. But because I wasn't really watching teams till I was 7, but this is from a regular season standpoint, easily the best team I've watched top to bottom.
Well, let's just say for me, there's a few teams every now and then that I'm like, you know, it would be really nice if this team won. Yeah. The Cubs for me were one. Obviously my Knicks are one for even if I wasn't a Knicks fan, you feel right. And the Lions for sure in the NFL are the team I'd be most happy for their fan base having no affiliation other than being friends with you. We wanted to do something fun today as we're doing our year in review. I kind of prepped everybody earlier, but I want to look at film and a little television and just movies in Hollywood in a different way, kind of cross it over with sports instead of saying like the best actor was. We're going to do some categories. I think the categories we came up with are our Rookie of the Year, which also are, it's funny. Matt Damon has the famous quote of, I was an overnight sensation after trying to get into a movie for 10 years, right? It's like, even though they're rookies, we're basically just saying our younger actors who are on the rise, even though they might have been doing it for a while. Then the one I'm most excited for is Comeback Actor of the Year. We've talked about it with NFL, like who's going to be the Comeback Player of the Year. It seems like that award's getting locked up. Perfect example, like, I thought Travolta in Pulp Fiction is example number 1 of what a comeback actor. And then last but not least, we have male, female MVP. And that criteria, which we're leaving totally up to you. To me, it's like, performance in movies. It's a little box office success. It's maybe things they have set up. So I'm excited to see what you have today. But before we get to the awards, I took my 2 kids alone last week. Bree was working. I took them to see Moana 2. And you're someone I text a lot about movies in general. One of my prouder days is when you broke the story of I was going to maybe play Arturo Gatti. That movie didn't happen, unfortunately. Kroll wrote a glowing article. Strahan was producing. You wrote a glowing article about how I'm a perfect person to play Arturo Gatti, and the movie fell apart.
Did you tell him to do that too, just so you can get some more? You know, did you text him on
I didn't. I mean, sometimes you want to add some juice to these stories, but
a little juice.
Well, Jerry didn't. Mr. Slater.
I was saying, did Jerry text you?
Brad Slater.
It was Brad Slater, probably.
Matt knows Brad Slater well.
Slater.
It's a Brad Slater special. So
I love it.
You know, you have a young son as well. Matt has 2 young sons. So it really hit me when I was at the movies. Like, I gave each kid like a little bag of popcorn. I was ready to leave at any moment. I'm like, the minute this turns bad, especially with my little guy.
You have to.
I was ready to go. You've taken your son to like premieres almost, right? Of movies he really wanted to see.
Been to
something
like
with a special
premieres.
screening. 6 premieres.
6. He's over 20 movies at this point.
So yeah, is there a secret? Like, how did you master? Because now that's your son's thing is movies now, right?
I mean, he's into everything. Toys,
right.
Wrestling moves off our couch, like he's almost 5, so it's a lot. But I have 3 rules for taking a kid these days to the movies. We took him to Lightyear in 2022. He's like 2.5 years old.
Wow.
And I was like, all right, we're gonna do this. I want to see how it goes. And
it's risky.
3 rules I did. Again, I have 1 kid compared to the multiple for you, so that makes it slightly easier. The first rule is find the earliest time possible. Like we're lucky we have like theaters that do like 9:30 shows, even like 11.
Interesting.
Just know if you go to that show, there's absolutely only people with kids who are afraid that they're gonna freak out too. Everyone is in the same wagon. You're in the same train. So let them, and just let them do what they want to do. If they want to sit on the steps, if they want to run around a little bit, as long as they're not screaming, like just kind
everyone's more accepting of.
I can't imagine there's a lot of people in a 9 a.m. show as well. Right?
It was empty. I mean, again, this is like COVID, post-COVID. I mean, he was boosted and all that stuff, but like, everyone was still kind of nervous to do it, but like no one there. And even since then, like every time I go, it's like a family maybe. Like that's the best time.
That's a good rule. I like that
Second rule, snacks. Sneak them in, buy them, do what, I don't care about like
keep him snacking.
Snacks and a drink, and just like make sure he knows, and maybe make sure he has a diaper if he isn't potty trained, or just go to the bathroom before you enter that thing. And the third rule is you have to be willing to leave at any moment. Like if he's like, I'm out, I need to go. The money's nothing. You just need to go. So he's been good the whole time. He's done everything from, took him to Red 1, which is like probably the most adult thing he's been.
Red 1, yeah.
Just to see how he would do.
It's been the more premieres than I have.
That wasn't a premiere. That was the busiest screen he went to. He went to the Moana premiere. This kid's so spoiled. We did a screening of Despicable Me, which is just like you go. It's just the media screening they call it.
Right.
He walks out and he's like, "Where's the party at, Dad?"
He wanted to know what the after party was.
Because 2 weeks earlier we went to Inside Out 2,
and there was an after party,
and it was like a bash. Like it was, Disney threw it right to the point where he's jaded ever since. So,
dude, I'm gonna have to call you to get on some of these lists.
You should, man. You should.
I can. Yeah, I'll at least point it. Listen, if you emailed one of these people that it's like, Leinart, I would at least put my name on it and then explain to them this is Matt Leinart.
The hard part for 2, I mean, is like my boys, I took them to see.
What are the ages, by the way?
So almost 5 and 3.5. So
okay, so we're basically we're all in the same band.
Yeah, we're all in the same boat. They can. My wife took them to Moana 2 in Miami a couple weeks ago. She said they did great. I took them to Cosm. Have you guys heard of Cosm?
Yep.
So like it's in LA. It's pretty cool, right? So it's like this interactive thing, Jerry, where you're kind of in a movie theater, but it's like plays a sporty. It's like you're sitting front row into like an NBA game.
It's like this Sphere for sports.
Sphere for sport. Yeah. So they have one in Dallas, I think. Yeah. So I took them to see Cirque du Soleil, which was like the only thing they could really do, and this was a month ago, and they loved it up until the last 20 minutes, and that's when they just start beating the shit out of each other. That's like it's just like they get a little restless.
Switching hour, like Scott Hansen would say.
When I went, I went to Texans Lions for it, and there was a ton of families there. You do have to buy a ticket if you want. Like it's a breakdown. Like there's a standing room for $20, which I did because I just wanted to see how it was. There's like a $70 one and then $125. And like the families are there. Like it does have. It's not like a rowdy bar situation. But
we did a whole couch. We did a whole couch. It was awesome. It was cool. I feel like Jerry and I don't know if Jerry was going there with this, but I feel like movies. I feel like they're making a comeback, like going to the theater, and I just feel I hear it more from friends. Or like, we went to the movies. This, and it's not necessarily just like Disney movies, right? Because a lot of our friends are in the same boat. I just feel like it's, hey, we're gonna go have that experience like we all had growing up, which was amazing. Is that something that you're seeing?
It will never get back to 2019, like Avengers breaking the all-time box office record. But animated movies, especially, like the families are fine. Like Inside Out is like broke animated records. Like it broke Frozen. Like that's where that is. Where like I think families are finally over the COVID of it all. They want to show it, and I think people just got tired of watching stuff at home.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know about you, but like getting out of the house is just so important in general. Like we like that's the weekend is where I'm just like, how do I make sure he does not lose his mind in this time? Like, do I go to the park? Do I go like I have a universal pass, but like the movies are I am always looking for that. And I feel like you saw it on Thanksgiving weekend. It broke a record, 132 million between Moana, Wicked, and Gladiator 2.
Gladiator 2,
So everyone, that's a demographic right there when you have it. So I definitely see it coming back in that way. Animated films especially, because there was like a time, Lightyear I brought up, there was it bombed. No one showed up, and that seemed like such a slam dunk, and that was like maybe families just don't want to go anymore. And between Moana, Despicable Me did really well. I mean, families showed up for Deadpool. You don't make $1.3 billion if you don't show, even though it's an R-rated movie. Like at least teenagers were going. Like
it's such a like I mean, gosh, it's so cool because it gives them. Jerry and I were like, it's something to look forward to, right? Hey, we're going to the movie on Saturday, whatever it is. We're going to go see Inside Out 2. Like, the boys get so excited now. And that's how it was for me growing up because we didn't have a lot of money. It was like going to a sporting event. Like, we would go to like one Lakers nosebleeds game a year, and it was like our Super Bowl, you know, like these like your kids ask them where the party is after a movie, which is like, you know, that's the world. That's like how we're raising our kids because we're fortunate we get to do these things. I don't know. I feel like it's kind of coming back, which is so awesome because it was such a part of my childhood, like getting your popcorn. Like, it seems so simple now, but it's like I'm tired of just streaming every night and like, hey, we'll lay on the couch. Like, let's go to the theater, let's get candy, let's get a Coke, let's do an outing. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm hoping it's coming back.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's like how I grew up too. It was like
right.
With my dad, like go to the movies with my dad and go to a college football game with my dad. Those were like infused in my blood, which is why college football is such a big thing. It's my wife's a huge college football fan too. And movies, I still like love taking. I'm not jaded by this job. I still really love it. So that plays a huge part too. And I want my kid to enjoy that as well.
Have you seen a lot of the the non-kid movies this year? Yeah. Like, you've kind of ripped through? I used to get all the screeners back in the DVD generation. That was the cool part of being in SAG.
They don't
do
WGA.
It as
much. It's like
they don't really
now.
do it because they just and you get digital links or. But again, like you and like Matt said, I watch stuff at home on the couch. I'm asleep 10 minutes in, and it's no offense to what I'm watching. I can't stay awake past 10 o'clock. So
I wish I had that problem.
I would say, and everyone said two things really. Everyone, you know, the mantra has been within Hollywood, survive till 25, right? Yeah. For the movies, you know, there's a good setup for 2025, which I want to ask you about in a second. But what have you seen this year that you would say all right, you don't have kids, or you and your partner are going to go to a movie? What would you suggest?
I mean, I just kind of I saw like 100 movies this year. Damn. Between theater. Damn. At home and like the plane, like not 100 theatrical theaters. I have closed my top 10. I would say Dune was my favorite film of the year. I thought that movie was awesome.
I'm halfway through the first one. I'm watching at home. I fell asleep, but not because of the movie. It was it was midnight.
No,
I was sweating.
That's your boy,
Tim.
Right?
That's my boy Tim. Yeah. We've talked on the show.
We'll get to him and down the road.
Chalamet and like 20 times on this show. I'm so high on him. It's unbelievable.
Well, okay. You'll like some of my awards.
All right, Dune.
Well, the Bob Dylan film with Tim. So
all right, okay, Bob Dylan film.
That was,
love Bob Dylan.
I mean, if you like Walk the Line, it's the same director, James Mangold.
Right.
I think it plays very similarly. Like, it's like I was engaged the whole time, and just Tim, Monica Boero, who plays Joan Baez, Edward Norton, Boyd Holbrook is Johnny Cash. I want to see that movie now because he's so good as that.
Yeah.
Really good. There's this film called September 5th that's coming out soon.
Yes, I've heard a little. Yes,
how the Munich games were covered when the terrorist situation happened from the ABC desk. Awesome. It is like one of the better thrillers of the year, the way they did that. Those are like the big ones.
That's the big three?
Yeah, I would say. I don't want to.
Did you see Gladiator 2 yet or no?
That's 4. That was I was so entertained by that.
Is it amazing?
How good was it?
It will never be the original, and it should.
Right.
Like, it's just so hard to hit classics, but like Denzel is in his role. I think Mezcal is a star, and they were just going for it with some of those action scenes. So that was on my list. And then like TV wise, Presumed Innocent was my favorite show.
That was great.
So good.
That was a great one.
I like Disclaimer too on Apple. And then the recent season of Industry, which is that like a London like financial
HBO
show.
HBO finance show. Yeah, I'm
show
so behind.
Lights out.
So behind.
Man.
Did you watch?
You'll breeze through that.
Did you watch Shrinking?
Love that show.
That's I think my wife and I's favorite.
That's a show where it's similar to Entourage, where I feel like I'm seeing my friends again when it comes back on. Like, I love all those characters. Like, I'm relating to those characters so much. The first season I kind of love more. This one like got almost a little dark at times, where I was like kind of like turned off, but I understood where they were going.
Right.
Brett Goldstein edition I thought was great. Like kind of rooting for that character, but. Yeah, I mean, Harrison Ford is so good in that, like, Prodigy.
Isn't it so? Yeah. I feel like it's such a. Every time I watch it, it's such a strange, like, to see him in that show, right? Because I think of him as Indiana Jones. Like, I just think of him as like this. I don't know, but he's great in it. He's fantastic.
the pivot he's done recently with some of the TV stuff, because he's doing the Yellowstone spinoff as well, which I like him in. But yeah, he just kind of just fits perfectly into that. He
does, yeah.
He's a professional on the show, but he does have those. If you watch his interviews, he kind of is that character a little bit with this
I'm so excited to become a grumpy asshole, man. I don't know. I feel like I've been born and raised to get to that point in life. We're gonna do something.
That's what you have
fun.
to look forward to, Jerry.
Well, Matt and I have been talking offline. Like we're gonna do these segments where, you know, Matt also has an older son. I have a 16-year-old nephew, and their sports takes are just psychotic at times. But it's like the old versus the young. So that is gonna be a segment on Throwbacks for sure. We're going to have the old versus young.
I say this all the time. The people that grew up in the 80s and 90s just had the best childhood. They had the sports were better. The TV shows were better. Everything was just, these kids don't know anything. I'm showing Jax all the like the Batman animated series and Tailspin and all that stuff. I don't want Coco Melon and Bluey in my house.
Tailspin, so good.
Tailspin.
I love that show, man.
So we've brought back like All Dogs Go to Heaven, which by the way, sad movie, but like we brought in some of those 90s movies back for our kids, and they love it. But it's like
you're gonna
sit down and watch this.
I did Back to the Future over Thanksgiving, and he was engaged in the second one. Like he was
really.
I don't think he was following, but he definitely found the visuals, and that was like a moment for me.
Do you know what live action one played well in my house? Air Bud.
Oh, that would be a good
for
one.
Kid. Air Bud played really well. My 5-year-old was just like, this is hilarious. And right after, he was like, Dad, let's go play basketball. I'm like, this is how I had to inspire you to watch a dog play basketball? This is what makes you want to play hoops?
His favorite one is live action is probably Godzilla King Kong right now. Like he thinks
your kid's like going to be Quentin Tarantino. He's watching everything.
Well, he's getting a little bit more scared of things here and there. So like I'll actually screw with him. I'll do like Disney randomly does their Hulu thing. So like the Alien movie is on the op, and I'll click on Alien, and he'll freak out. He's like, no, don't put it on.
I freak out.
By the way,
Godzilla
King Kong's a little bit aggressive for a
5-year-old. I mean, probably.
My 5-year-old would love it. My 3-year-old would be terrified. My 5-year-old doesn't get scared.
Again, I gauge a little. I mean, the best story I have of like, not of all time, but like I would have like the TV on in the background, and like Fear Fest was on, and they would just put like all sorts of horror films on at all points of the day. I was doing dinner.
I can't watch that.
And
stuff.
Jax just comes up. He was probably 3. He goes, Daddy, the dude with the weird fingers is on right now. He kind of looks scary. I look up, Freddy Krueger is just chopping somebody up. And I was like, click. I got to change that channel.
I can't watch that stuff now. Before we move on to some awards, what is coming in 25 that is that mantra, survive till 25? Like what are things that we know are coming? And then second part, I always kind of say, like, I don't want to quite do the 1-for-1 like your Shams in Hollywood, but you have to break stuff. You put when I know Kroll on Twitter puts, what do you put, a bomb usually? Like you're going to drop a bomb. Incoming, right? When Justin puts incoming, you're getting some massive casting news. So what are the things that are coming that you're excited about in 25? And then what are the things that you are working on? Again, you don't have to give away any trade secrets, but the things you hope break in 2025 one way or the other.
Oh, so stuff coming out. So the reason it was called Survive to 25 is that you had the dual writing acting strikes, and they had to push films out because actors couldn't promote their movies. So like Challengers was supposed to come out in September of 23, came out in April 24. And then all the movies in 24 pushed to 25. So you only had one Marvel movie this year, for instance. It was Deadpool. Huge hit, but like that just never has happened in recent years. Next year, we have 3. We have a new Captain America with Anthony Mackie taking over the Shield.
Right.
Because they switched that in the TV show.
I love Mackie. I've golfed with Mackie. He's hilarious.
Oh, he's the best. I know his
amazing.
manager. I've hung out. He calls me Detroit because like he's done some Detroit movies. So he's like, hey, Detroit. And I'm like,
it was an 8 Mile, right?
8 Mile. He did. Well, he also filmed a bunch. Like I think like Real Steel, that Hugh Jackman movie with Sean Levy filmed there.
That's
He's been in Detroit a couple times.
All right.
So there's that. There's Thunderbolts, which is like Marvel's version of Suicide Squad, which is like Florence Pugh's character.
Yep.
Winter Soldier all teamed together. And then the big one's Fantastic Four finally getting rebooted with Pedro and Vanessa Kirby and Joseph Quinn in the Johnny Storm role. And then the summer is stacked. There is the new Jurassic World movie with Scarlett Johansson coming out. There is the Superman movie coming out that everyone's pretty excited about. Brad Pitt has this F1 racing movie that they've been teasing.
I saw when I
pumped.
So when I was just in Vegas for F1, my room had a view of the track, and at like 2 a.m, I just hear, and I like wake up, I open the shade, and there's cars flying around, and there's like some guy standing in the middle of the track. I'm like, what the hell? It's Brad Pitt. They were filming like reshoots for the F1 movie.
Well, they were doing pickups
or add-ons, right?
Their whole thing was like because it had to push because of the strike, they had to get these additional shots in.
Right.
So that was one of the things.
I watched them filming that from my hotel window at 2:30 in the morning. I ordered room service and watched.
And then you have another Avatar film also coming out too at the end of the year. And then the one I'm actually excited really is Sinners with it's Michael B. Jordan and Ryan Coogler reuniting on like a vampire movie set in Jim Crow South. It looks fantastic. He plays twins in it. It looks awesome.
Oh, he plays dual roles.
Yeah,
dual roles.
That's an adult. That's a date night movie that I would suggest.
Right. You're gonna leave the kids at home for.
And then there's a How to Save Your Dragon live action movie that I think is like that's something Jax is getting into is that movie.
It's a great movie.
There's a couple Pixar films. Zootopia 2 is gonna come out, which will probably.
So we got a big. It's a big. 25 is a big year.
Yeah, like everything.
If this goes well. I won't say we're back, but we'll say, okay, we now know officially what movies and box office is like. This is how it functions now. I'm excited for that Harry Potter show. Is it true? I read the Deadline article too. I think one of your co-workers wrote about just the secrecy of the casting.
I worked on that.
You worked on that story?
Yeah.
It's like one of the most tight-lipped projects.
That's a Nolan movie. It's the hardest thing to find news out about right now because it's done in London. It's harder to track, and the NDAs on it, like it's just
crazy.
But I'm the nice thing about that is like if you read any books, they leave so much out from the movies because there's so much detail that I actually think this will work for a new generation kind of thing because like the people that watch those movies are just me and Matt's age now, so like, and Jerry's. Sorry,
I'm older than you. I'm a lot older than you guys. Matt hates when I say I'm a lot older than him.
4 years. We're in the same decade. We're in the same.
I'm a whole high school person older.
That
than
is, you. When you're a whole high school.
I guess when you put it that way, you're old.
Yeah, like you wouldn't have gone to school with me and Matt. That's.
Or I might have been a senior. You guys would have been a freshman. I could have picked on you guys like days and confused. Although Matt was 6'5".
Well, I was 9 inches taller than you when I was 8 years old.
What grade were you in the Rose Bowl against Navarre?
I was redshirt. So I graduated high school in 01.
Oh, 2 years older. Oh, 3.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Okay,
so
that's okay.
I knew we were. I just turned 41 in May.
Okay. All right, so that similar. Yeah, so we know similar TV shows from the 90s.
Of course.
Well, 2025 looks incredible. That's gonna be amazing. But let's talk about 2024 and do some awards now. Cool. Okay, we thought through this. We know the format. Do you have the order you'd like to go?
Well, you want to do rookie comeback and then the
rookie comeback. Okay, so let's hear it. So we got. First one's going to be our Rookie of the Year for actors, which I think is a great way to look at acting awards. The Oscars should do this.
Yes. So this one was a little tougher, but I went based on like the Oscar pedigree stuff. I'm going Mickey Madison from Anora, which is that's another film. That's like the under the radar film.
Yes.
It's excellent. Director Sean Baker, who's done a lot of these like independent films that have popped at the Oscars. You'll know
she's from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, right?
This isn't a rookie. This is her first big leading role.
Right.
Everybody will remember her from getting like barbecued.
She's the one
Leo.
that Leo barbecues with the flamethrower, right?
Yes.
Yeah, she's awesome.
She's one of the Manson. But like, ironically, like his cast in that movie is under the radar awesome for unknowns. Like Sydney Sweeney, Austin Butler was one of those. Mickey,
that's right.
Like Maya Hawke was like the Manson kids who go to like storm Brad and Leo's house are like stars now.
Was Sydney Sweeney one of the girls that did that?
She opens the door for Brad to go.
When they go to the ranch, you know, when Brad Pitt goes to the ranch, Sydney Sweeney. Also, who did she? Margaret Qualley. Yes, it's like it really is.
You rewatch that movie and you're like, this person.
That's the rookie class.
That movie. Yeah.
Wow,
I watched it on the plane to LA last month, and I thought the same thing. Like, wow, like if you look at this like a rookie draft class, just this movie, there's first round picks everywhere.
It's the Lions last year class. Like it's Gibbs, Laporta, and Jack Campbell.
Well played, Kroll. Well played. Okay, I like that. That's a great call.
She's fantastic. Try to find that, but that I think she is right there in the mix to win the Oscar this year. Like that, she's that good in it. So that would be if you're in that sort of category, you get Rookie of the Year if it's your first big leading role.
Damn, Oscar win, that'd be huge.
Next
All right,
was Comeback.
Comeback actor of the year, my favorite, because
this was interesting. I was trying to do it, and this person since COVID, they've had a couple theatrical things that just didn't hit as well. And I'm going Gyllenhaal, Jake. I think Roadhouse, I think, even though it didn't go theatrical, really had a moment in the springtime where everyone was watching it. It was the water cooler film. Everyone wanted to see it, good or bad. Like, oh, I don't make this. Oh, I want to see this. But
he's jacked, of course. I
think that movie played really well, and I think it was something that, like, I think it was the film that mainly streamed that did the best of everything that you remember in 24, and really popped again. And then, like, after that kind of died down, Presumed Innocent comes out, and that is the show of the summer that everyone was talking about.
It was incredible.
See what happened. I think he's going to be in the Emmy conversation now. He just got a Globe nomination. So it wasn't like he had was in like actor jail like Travolta before he did Pulp Fiction, but he had a couple bumps with Ambulance and that Guy Ritchie movie just not having the same sort of pop at the box office. This year, I think he really did well. And then next year, I actually just bought this, taking my wife to New York it was a birthday present. We're going to go see Othello. It's him and Denzel in the springtime.
Oh, that locks it up. MVP. Wow.
So that's a 12-month stretch right there where he's.
Wow.
Some might say that's almost an MVP bid. Like, that's very Sam Darnold. Like, you could have the conversation that he could be MVP as well.
We kind of already teased my MVP bid from earlier because I named 2 of my 3 films, but we'll get there in a second.
We'll get there because it's a sponsored segment as well. So we'll get there.
And then you want to do the sponsor? Or?
Yeah. So, all right. So this is how we set this up. Every week we do our Wendy's Can't Get Enough Sauce Moment of the Year. I needed a drink of water anyway. And we try to figure out usually it's with sports, a player or a team. That's our saucy moment that we cannot get enough of. So for our male and female MVP, we're going to use that for our Wendy's Can't Get Enough Sauce Moment of the week. So let's go first let's do men first. Okay. Who is the male MVP actor
Chalamet
of 2024? The gentleman MVP.
Chalamet.
It's Chalamet.
Yeah.
Wow.
If you go from year to year, people forget Wonka was a year from now. That film did $625 million at the box office, and that owned basically the first 2 months of the year. Where when nothing was really coming out, that made its money. He got like a Globe nom for that, I believe.
Yep.
And it's like it launched a new franchise for him. Then that film dies down and Dune comes out, which is like basically
Dune's
the biggest
big time
until Inside Out. Huge. It's going to be in the Oscar race now. Obviously, not everyone's going to see that because of him, but like without him, I don't think the film is necessarily working. And then this Complete Unknown, I think he's getting an Oscar nom for. He's fantastic in it. It's gonna come out Christmas, and like kind of he hit all factors. He did the family film, he did your tentpole, and now he has this like acting piece that like really showed his stature, I feel like.
And as we pointed out a few weeks back, stellar sports knowledge for someone that you would
by the way, that was
assume.
the most shocking thing I've ever seen.
That rounds out the MVP case.
This poor kid, just because he goes to NYU, everyone's like, he can't be.
I
He
know.
can't watch ball. And
Totally stereotyped him. This kid is like a diehard sports fan. Like I mean,
the Ohio pick in the MAC championship was crazy because that was just like none of those guys on that board. I'm sure you're in that position too, where you have to pick a game and you're like, I have no idea I can't watch everything. Like that was nuts to nail that because they blew him out.
How old is he? Mid-20s?
Is he 27?
27, 20. I think he's in later now, but he's.
I go harder for the Knicks thing that popped up on
the Knicks
social,
thing was
which
great.
We talked about like hunting Landry Fields down in the middle of Manhattan somewhere to answer a trivia question to win tickets to the Knicks game.
He also seems like a really down to earth dude. Like he went to the Timothee Chalamet lookalike contest and was like screwing with people.
He's the MVP, Kroll. You're right. He is the male MVP. Wrap it up. Give him the trophy. Clap it up, and we'll see if he can go back to back. I mean, he's 28. He's going to be 29 December 27th. So under 30. He's Mahomes. He's Mahomes.
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
It feels like he's been around forever. It was interesting. He's at that game, and I forgot that he did Interstellar.
I watched Interstellar last week on a plane, and he's in Interstellar. Yeah, so
that's the other thing that's kind of cool.
All right, we got to get him on this pod, by the way. That we have to make that happen. And now, who is our Wendy's Can't Get Enough Sauce female MVP actress? Whatever.
Ironically, he's his co-star. I'm Zendaya. I think she is it now.
She is.
And the big reason isn't just because of Dune, because again, like that, you can't really base that on box office, but she's like that again. that was as much her film as it was Timmy's. I feel like this time around. But this film Challengers goes
Is that the
on,
tennis movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
Does 90 million globally, and that film, like in this day and age, when a film like that was kind of done for streamers but gets the theatrical thing, that's an impressive feat, and people were only going to that movie because of her. Sorry, Josh O'Connor and the Crown fans, Mike Face, no one really knew who you were. They showed up for her, and I mean that doesn't seem like a huge number, but in this day and age, when that drama is just so hard to get people in theaters for, I think she locked that up too. And anytime she has something coming, people lose their minds over it. This A24,
she's a superstar.
Yeah.
And she still has, like, in the chamber, if they get to it, they have Euphoria. If they get to it in the chamber, that's waiting.
Can I tell you guys my MVP? I just actually want to get Justin. How about Glenn Powell?
Yeah. I would have given it to him in 23.
Well, that's what I said. Like, Twister, Hitman, Anyone But You. And then I think he's filming a popped up on my. Is he?
Well, Chad Powers.
That's right.
Chad Powers.
I just feel like he's like he had a big year. Like he's had a big couple years.
I think I slightly give it to Timmy because just the numbers
for sure.
Were a little, but like Glenn is like runner up probably. If you had the runner up numbers, he'd be getting first place.
He got a few first place votes, like from Leinart. He got one.
He needs that like votes. I would like to see him stretch it. I mean, listen, he's trying to build the movie star status. That one, like I guess Hitman was kind of that, but the like film that like Timmy's like the Bob Dylan
of course,
role,
that
where he shows that acting range. Too.
Yeah,
because I think he is a really good actor.
I agree,
Justin. Can't thank you enough. Awesome. We're trying to find friends of the show. I think you're our first friend of the show. We want to have you back.
One more. The saddest moment of the year was listening to the triple option and Urban Meyer talk about that Michigan Ohio State game. That was the saddest moment.
Wait, shots fired. I love it.
Wait, did you see that an Ohio State lawmaker, the bill that he's proposing?
He's a Michigan fan. He's trolling. He's a Michigan fan.
Oh, really?
Grew up in Ann Arbor or Toledo. That's what all the Barstool guys are saying. Don't go for it. It's a troll.
So he got me.
Flag planting, right?
That is a felony.
Flag planting is a felony. I was like, how soft could you be? Oh,
I'm almost positive everyone was calling the guy out. Like he's is Ohio, but grew up. It sounds like he's a Michigan fan from all intents and purposes.
Has to be a troll because I mean you can't take it
so
seriously.
Funny. That's actually great. Oh man,
buddy, you're the best.
Thanks for coming on.
I appreciate it. We'll get you back in 25 and see if we are surviving. Good luck to your Detroit Lions. I will not text you. I'll just text you happy things.
You can text me when you want. I appreciate it, but hopefully
and maybe we'll see you. Maybe we'll see you in New Orleans. Maybe we'll do. Maybe the next episode we'll do. Maybe we're all in New Orleans. Who knows?
Well, hopefully my wife doesn't listen to this because then she's gonna ask where that fund is hidden somewhere.
Good point.
We'll
thank you, Justin.
See you guys
later, buddy.